Stands with deep pans of crackling oil are common along roadsides in Puerto Rico. The snacks found at these stops are particular to this country for their blend of African, Spanish, and Taíno Indian ingredients. These street-side snacks have translated to home cooking as well. Jesus Perez runs La Casita Blanca, an establishment known for its traditional cuisine in San Juan. A taste of any dish on the menu shows how the lives of African slaves influence popular Puerto Rican dishes today.
A lot of Europeans bring codfish to the New World to do food for slaves. Codfish is rich in protein, and you know the slave have to do a lot of work in the sugar cane, and one of the diet is the codfish of Norway. What we are doing here, it's bacalaitos. Bacalaito is a mix of codfish boiled with salted, and with the same water of the boiled codfish, we add in the water flour, the codfish boil, and cilantrillo, recao, onions, peppers, and we mix all that things in the flour. The codfish is inside. We mix the things to do a base. When this is all ready mixed, all the ingredients, we fry.
Besides codfish, there's another type of seafood traditional in slave dishes.
Crab in the part of Santurce used to be all over. And in this area, slaves from other colonies that was in war with Spain come refugee in this area. Slaves used to do a lot of dishes with crab, like the rice with crab, the crab in stew, the alcapurrias with crab, soup of crab.
One of the most traditional staples of Puerto Rican cooking draws its ties to African slaves.
We are making a sofrito. Sofrito, it's a mix of onions, peppers, cilantro, recao, garlic. Sofrito is used in most of the Puerto Rican plates, for stew, for soup, for making beans, for a lot of Puerto Rican plates. It's the first thing that you do when you do stew. Since 1500s, we've been using sofrito in our plates. From African heritage cuisine, the stew, the soup, the rice, it's very important because it's the base of all plates.
From the base of dishes to making new dishes out of unwanted leftovers.
This is pegao. It's part of the rice. The slave owner don't eat the bottom of the rice, so they give it to the slave. They mix with rice or with a stew, and that's still a tradition in Puerto Rican food. I am one that I can eat it. I love to eat that. Mixed with the beans and with a good stew, it's very, very nice. And it's part of the tradition of the African heritage. Also, we have gandinga. It's the tribes of the pork. Remember that the owner of the slave give the part that they don't use, like tribes, lungs, heart, all that things was given to the slave, and the slave do with something small, something big.
Being innovative with the very limited means they were given wasn't only seen in cooking, but also in other aspects of life on the island for those being enslaved. They carried little to nothing on their transatlantic journey from Africa, and traditional musical instruments like drums had to be rebuilt using materials found in their new home.
This is a rum barrel. It's made of wood. It's probably as close as you're gonna get to what our native people from Africa, when they came here, or the guys that started doing the bomba drum.
The music made with these drums played a large role in the lives of slaves, not only as a tie to their homelands, but also as a release from the daily oppression they faced. Luis Rivera specializes in making the same style of drums used for the bomba dance, something created by African slaves who came to this island. Each drum is handcrafted with painstaking patience.
You just cut the top and the bottom, and you'll probably end up with something that looks more like this. You see? And there are different sizes, so what we do to make it all even and they'll stick and be small and efficient at the same time, we'll probably use a tool like this, and we'll scrape the sides, and until they're quite as even, probably reducing it from a 15-degree angle to a 9-degree or a 10-degree angle. When we stick it all together, right, we'll probably end up with something looking more like this. As soon as you have that, you already have like the form of your barrel. The trick is to have it as rounded as possible. We use this. It's mixed between wood glue and some dust powder, and mix it like doing a paste type, like oatmeal, like dry oatmeal. And then we'll take each and every one of these one by one, taking one. We'll glue this side, and then take this one and glue this other side, and then just keep on gluing it until you glue every single one of them, because they're all the same angle, they're all the same degree, and you can hardly see the divisions. That's when you have it perfectly. If you can still see divisions after taking your center, then it's you probably did something wrong. So you could fix it still. And you could smooth it out nice, and it'll still look nice, and it'll still be usable. You know, you still use it, but it's more professional just to take your time and do it one by one, and just take your time when you're doing something like this, because it looks better. After this, you just take this metal pieces apart, just take them all out, leave the drum as it is, and then you'll take the same tool you used to shave the sides and shave the whole thing up. That's the trick with a bomba drum. Both sides should be the same size. If you're doing something different, like open up and a little bit narrower underneath, it'll probably sound like more like a conga instead of a bomba drum. This bomba drum, we're gonna have 5 of these adjusters because of the size, and it'll sound perfectly. We use this little thing that I did here. It's a mold, and what I have here, and this specifically is a barbed wire, and I hammered in there, and I covered it with some, I think it's hay and some blue tape, and after welding it and all that, I left it there so it'll take that shape of a round, and if I take it out, it'll just fit in there real good. I'll take some wire and I'll wrap it around, and I'll take some skin, some goat skin, and I'll just put it in there and wrap it around too.
For Africans, these drums were made for dancing.
El tambor es una creación de Puerto Rico.
The drum is a Puerto Rican creation. We had several ethnic groups in Puerto Rico. The Indians that were here first, the Spaniards, and finally the Africans. We invented our own drum. looking at what the Indians had first, then the Africans, and then we joined both, and that is how our model came to be.
And one Puerto Rican family, led today by Modesto Sapida, is doing just that.